Hi, everybody. It's Angel, and thank you for joining me for my show. Sorry about this morning. Our show is usually at 1 p.m. However, I was on location today, and me being me, I took it for granted that my phone would have enough juice, even though my spidey senses went off this morning going, move the show or find another way of doing it. So this actually leads really nicely into today's episode. But before we go there, please remember that after the show, you can always watch this and share it. It's always on YouTube, and you can always find it at raisingenergy.com/my show. So these are just kind of the little things that I like to put out there because I want as many people to get the information I share as I possibly can, because it's important. But it's not just the show, it's also the comments. Something I want to bring up is the fact that these comments are so important. When you share, you're not just sharing with me, you're sharing with everybody who is ever going to see the show in the future. So when you do take the time to share with me, you are helping others in return. And that's really the whole concept here. The whole idea of doing this particular show is to help and heal. Hi, everybody. How are you? Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Jen. Hi, Carmela. And I love having my regulars, and I love having new people. It's so exciting because there's always something to share. And that's, I guess that's the word of the moment. But this show is really, really important. We're actually going to talk about the nitty-gritty of being a psychic. And that's, everybody talks about, seeing the ghosts and how cool it is and talking to animals. But, we go through our stuff. We go through doubt. And it's not just at the beginning of our careers or when we're first opening up. The reality is we start to experience doubt at any level of who we are. So when we're first starting, we're like, oh my God, is this real? Does this actually exist? And we test the waters and we wonder, and sometimes you get really scared, especially the first time, a ghostie pops up in front of you and you're just like, oh my God, did that really happen? It did happen, and that's a big part of it, is not dismissing. As you go on, though, you start to gain confidence. So it's not about not doubting, it's about percentages of doubt. Because even as an adept, and when I talk about an adept, somebody who's been working with this for a year, who has exceptional experience, someone who knows that this exists, there is still that element of doubt. Number one, it keeps us real. Number two, we have to live a human existence. And part of our human makeup is that we doubt. Okay, we second guess ourselves. That's what we do. So how do we mitigate that as intuitives? Now, I believe that everybody is intuitive. We all have those abilities that we actually access every day. The second you turn around and go, oh, I wonder if, what happens if? How can I do this? You're thinking to yourself all of these different things, not realizing that there are those on the other side who are actually informing you as well. So when I'm writing, a word will pop into my head, but it's a word I haven't heard in years or seen in years. And every time that happens, I don't particularly care where it comes from. I say thank you. Because that could be my higher self, it could be my guides, it could be my guardians. I'm at the point now where when something like that happens, I will say thank you. And I will know who it is because I get a flash or an image or a thought that is attached to it. I've learned now, rather than doubting, just to say thank you, dismiss nothing. As long as I'm not hurting myself or anybody else, act on it. Because that's what we do in society. What we do is we experience something and then we dismiss it. Oh, that was a fairy tale. You know what? That only can happen in the movies. Well, guess what? Art imitates life. So if it's happening on the screen, there is a very good bet that somewhere it exists. Not a happy concept if you think of some of the movies that are out there. So my son went to see It. And when he came home the next day, this is the second one, he came home the next day and I'm like, it didn't scare you, huh, Joseph? And he goes, no, not really. And I'm like, I said, it's really interesting, though. I said, if art imitates life, that means somewhere this kind of character exists. And he's like, I did not need to hear that. And he walked away. But the reality is a lot of us, most of us, majority of us, 98% of us are on such a high vibration and not made in such a way that we're going to call that stuff to us. So we're in a high vibration, so we're not going to call that kind of thing to us. A lot of people are afraid of that. And that's one of the reasons they kind of shut down their abilities, or they doubt, or that kind of stuff. And that's a pitfall of being psychic. And we're going to talk about pitfalls. The biggest pitfall I find is fear. Well, where does doubt come from? Doubt comes from fear. Denise, hello. Kim Sharon, hi. Lori, oh my God, hello, how are you? Really, really, really exciting to know that when we tap into things, that we are connected to something really big and outside of ourselves. Okay, that is exciting, but it's even more exciting when it becomes tangible. Okay, so the reality is that if we see it, we hear it, we taste it, we feel it, we smell it, the five senses, it becomes an experience we can say, okay, you know what? Yeah, this really exists. And all of a sudden, the doubt goes down. And then it happens again, the doubt goes down. And then again, and the doubt goes down, right? So every experience creates a confidence in us. But we have to start from a place of, I will allow. Dismiss nothing. Because in dismissing nothing, all of a sudden, we're able to open up our hearts and open up our intuitive abilities to be able to explore even more and go even more deeply. Okay? So doubt comes from fear. Doubt comes from that place of, if I allow this, what's going to happen? That's courage, right? To see what's going to happen. So last week, I went to an African ceremony, and it was an all-night ceremony, pretty amazing. And I didn't know what to expect. But me being me, the angel that I am and the Gemini that I am, I always jump in head first. Having said that, I knew that I was safe. I knew that I had a guide who was going to be with me. And I knew that this experience was going to take me somewhere that was life-changing. And that was because my intuition kept saying, okay, it's time, it's time, it's time. This had been offered to me before. But I decided one morning I woke up and went, okay, it's time. But why then? Why that moment? Because somewhere on the other side, somewhere in my own higher self, I knew that the timing was right. And boy, was it ever. And when I follow that intuition and that guidance, I am always, 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 always rewarded. Now, how do we combat doubt? Here's a really interesting thing. We're only 9 minutes into the show, and we're already talking about combating doubt. We're talking about it and got this far already because the reality is doubt is an illusion. It really is. The reality is that when we sit down and we ask ourselves, what is our truth? And we feel that inside, doubt goes away. Right? The doubt dissipates. The doubt turns around and says, oh, okay, well, you know what? You don't need me anymore. I'll see you in the next time that you need me. And why does doubt sit there? Doubt sits there in us because we're afraid to look at the truth. Okay, always. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I just have to do this really, really quick. Okay, so next step. How do we combat doubt? How do we combat fear? Same thing. What is my truth? And that's really where intuitive work comes from. Intuitive work comes from the ability to know my truth and define that from somebody else's. Okay, to tap into universal truth and know that that's really what is being given to the person in front of me, or even given to me, because my truth as angel can be different from universal truth. So I can believe X, Y, and Z. And then all of a sudden I get information and I'm like, wait a minute, I never conceived of that aspect or that perspective before. And it can change my viewpoint, right? There's my truth, there's your truth, there's universal truth. Very cool. And when we tap into universal truth, all of a sudden, things begin to shift and become easier. So my show is all about how can we utilize our energetic abilities and our intuitive abilities in our everyday life. How do we do that? Speak your truth. If you don't lie to yourself, you won't lie to anybody else. A friend of mine said that. He got that from his teacher in Africa. And I've always, always loved that. That was so awesome. If you have your story of psychic moments or energetic moments where you doubted yourself and it was like, oh my God, what did I do? If only I had listened to my intuition. I want to hear them. I want to hear them. And I want you to sit with me today. I'm going to put in our guest link. And I want you guys to... Your screen is what? Your screen is turning a bright green. Oh, no, 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 no. No. Please tell me everybody can see me. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at that. There's a bright green little thing in the corner. Oh, is that ever cool? Okay, you know what? Go. Thank you. Would anybody like me to explain that little green thing that just disappeared when I said go? If you do, give me a hearts. And I will tell you what that was. Anybody? Because I said go, you can even go back on the show, and it went away. Yeah. So here's the thing. Doubt is a construct of our mind. And I truly believe that when we listen to our gut, that's our intuition. Our gut, that's where we feel from. Right? This is why it always feels really weird. Our stomach is off. And then our head kicks in and our head goes, oh, wait a second. But was that safe? What we're feeling, is that correct? Is that right? La, 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 la. And there's this conversation between the head and the gut. And then the heart comes in and goes, okay, guys, make up your mind. And they go, okay, all right, this is my truth. Here it is. And the heart goes, I don't know, man. Keep talking, keep talking. And then when the two find the truth, the heart goes, yeah, now I'm on board with you. That's wisdom. And when we connect to our wisdom, we're connecting to our truth. And that's when intuition is in its correct form. This is when we are 100% accurate. Now, some of this is some of us are born with this wide open. We are born with the ability to be able to see from the time we're very young. Others have to develop it. Why is that? Simple. We only use a small percentage of our brain. Some people are actually more active from the time they're born in certain areas of that brain. As we get older, some of us actually shut down those areas for fear, for this, for that, whatever the case might be. We choose to shut them down. Or even developmentally, our brain just goes, you know what, we don't need to access that anymore. Let's just put it away. But then as we get older, especially in the evolution we're in now, we go, oh, wait a second. I know there was that part of my brain. I want to go check that out. I want to go explore that. And then slowly but surely, we start poking that part. Wake up, and goes, oh, wow. Oh, I can wake up again. Okay, this is really cool. I'm finding more and more children and teenagers have that part of their brain so turned on that it's so normal for them that it's become an everyday part of their lives, and they're utilizing it in their work, in their schoolwork, in their home life, in their families, right? They're the know-it-alls of the family. And that's the other thing. Doubt is a very, very interesting thing because doubt can be instilled in us as children. Oh, you know what you're seeing? That's not real. Oh, you know what? They have an imaginary friend. How cute. What if it's not? What if it's real? When I was a little girl, I had a friend, Jack, and he was blue. And one day I remember very distinctly, I was playing with my Legos or things like Legos. And he came to me, sitting behind me, and he said, I have to go now. And I was just like, okay. And I looked at him and I went back and I went, what just happened? And then I forgot all about him until years later, a friend of mine actually was doing a healing on me. And she goes, you have a very interesting guide who's blue. Whoa, trigger, all these memories came back. I remembered who Jack was, and I was bawling. He was a guide. He wasn't my imaginary friend. Okay, so Carmela says, I went to sleep on the couch one night because I just couldn't fall asleep in my bed. As soon as I was about to fall asleep, I heard a male voice and thought I saw something. It spooked me because I wasn't sure what it was. I don't know if that was real or not. Yeah, it will be. Because what happens as you're falling asleep or as you're just waking up and in that, what we call the in-between time, there's like a tunnel. And in that tunnel, you can see. And in that, on that vibration, that's when you're the most open to spirit. So yeah, more than likely that was a real experience. And this is what happens, right? We use the pupil of our eye, the center of our eye, until the age of 7. Then we go into school, we get into grade 1, and we're taught to focus. So here we are using the pupil of our eye. Before 7, we use the periphery. We use our whole eye up until the age of 7. So we're using the periphery, we're using the pupils, we're using everything, like an animal. What's really interesting is when we go to school, we're taught to focus, and all of a sudden that becomes closed down to a myopic view. When we're relaxed, when we're at home, when we're chilling, when we're about to fall asleep or we're just waking up, our eye is wide open again. So this is why it's at those times that we tend to have psychic experience. Our subconscious mind is also wide open at those moments. And when our subconscious mind is wide open, not only can we see, feel, experience on more psychic levels, but we can also program. We can program our day, we can program our lives, we can put in affirmations, all kinds of things can happen. Then we open our eyes fully, we come to consciousness, and it goes, and now we're in our conscious state, right? The paintings, the walls, the kids, the mirrors, all that kind of stuff. And now it's a little harder because now we're back to the pupil. We're back to that little myopic focus that we have in our daily lives because we have to focus on our responsibilities and our families and the picture we see in front of us, right? So that's how it works. So let's see, who else has stories? Lori says, hello, awesome friend. We sure do miss you. Any messages, guidance from spirit or loved ones for me, please? Love you, stay well. Hi, Lori. Yeah, you know what? It's really interesting that you're saying that. A dog is coming through right now, and I feel like you need to not worry. Everything is good. They feel good. Something about something they put in its paw, and it's like, and I keep seeing blood or blood work or what have you. Everything feels good. For you, it's all animal messages today. So this is a really interesting thing. When people ask me questions, it's a very cool thing because I have to tap in clean, right? So clean means I have very little information. I don't have any specifics, and I have to really depend on my guides and guardians to be able to give the information or receive the information in order to give you. Over the last 17 years, I have learned to trust my guides and guardians. I have learned I am not alone. And this mitigates doubt as well. When I tap in, I'm tapping into my higher self, but I'm also asking my posse. There are about 3, 4, 5, 7 entities around me that are consistently helping me and guiding me. So, and that's actually one of the things I wanted to talk about, that little green thing. So there was a show we did just recently. I think it was actually the last show we did, or the one before that. And after I finished the show, I noticed something. And the last probably minute, something came over my face, and behind me, I could see something. I have a little guide that I work with who gets very, 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 very curious. Both my mate and I saw this, And we kind of went, oh my God, he is actually on the show. And we couldn't miss it. So if you go back a couple of shows, you'll probably see him in the last like minute or so. So every once in a while, you're going to see stuff like that. And you can attribute it to technology. That's really cool. But then I was looking at it on my screen, and I know that there is a lag there. But I can also go, okay, you know what? Enough, stop, and everything will stop in its time, or in its way. So my guides and guardians are always present. Do they always make themselves known? Absolutely not, because it would freak us out. It would freak you out. And the reality is that that's the last thing we want. And a lot of people can't handle that. Can you imagine ghosts walking around and being able to see them like you see each other constantly? Creatures, different things of different kind, things that you wouldn't normally see. It would flip you out. Your mind couldn't handle it. That's how you go around the bend. Right? So the reality is a lot of people who have addictions, a lot of people who are not in a good way, a lot of them are actually high adepts. So this comes to, how do we handle doubt, and how do we accept it and work with it? How do we move through doubt? And again, it comes back to knowing your truth, but it's also about who you are. So some of us will all act cool. What's up, man? You know what? I know I'm seeing good. It's all good. Right? I know it all. I am everything. It's all good. And inside, what's really happening is this. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Am I going crazy? What's going on? Okay. So this becomes the cover. And a lot of people will take a look at a reader and go, oh man, they are so got it together. Look at them, they're superhero there. But again, this is what's really happening. Okay, it really, truly, honest to God. What I find really interesting, those people who are very confident in who they are, who understand what doubt is, who understand how to move through it and work with their truth, they're very humble. A lot of people, you wouldn't even know they're readers. You wouldn't know they're medicine men. You wouldn't know any of these things. You know, I have a lot of people who've come in over the years who tried to show pony me. But the reality is, this doesn't bother me. Used to when I started. It's like, how dare you make me try to prove myself? I don't care anymore, because the work proves itself. When I do the work, when I sit in that stillness, when I sit in that truth, there's nothing for me to prove. There's nothing for me to show pony, because the work is there. It's clear to the person sitting in front of you. So if someone sits in front of you and doubts you, all you have to do is sit quietly. Wait for the information. If you get it, fantastic. If you don't, go, you know what? Right now, I'm not getting anything. That's the truth. Because sometimes it's not for you to see. Sometimes it's not about your journey, it's about their journey, right? But we feel like failures as intuitives, and we feel like we've done something wrong if we don't have an answer for someone. And that, my friend, that is a pitfall. Always having to have the answer. You don't always have to have the answer. The only thing you always have to do is listen to the guidance. That's really important, because sometimes the guidance is say nothing. Sometimes the guidance is, here's a piece of that information because they need to grow, or they need to make choices based on what we're showing them. So understand, the biggest pitfall that we have as psychics that creates doubt in us as energetic beings is we have to have the answers. No, you don't. No, you don't. Sometimes the answer is no answer at all. Very interesting. Okay, Kim Davies, any messages you see from me? I keep asking and giving gratitude towards marriage and kids, as that is what I am hoping for. That's coming for you, and it's funny because as I'm reading that and as I'm feeling you, all I keep getting is something about Christmas, and there's a warmth of family. And I see you wanting that kind of family, that kind of feeling. That is coming for you, but I feel it more next year, Kim. I really, really, really like that for you. But again, the warmth you feel at Christmas time this year is a warmth you'll feel for yourself in the first part of the year, especially, and then moving into even a higher level of that. Louise, how are you? What do you foresee in my work situation, as right now it is filled with much stress? Show me her work situation. All I keep getting is don't do it. Don't do it. Leave it alone for the time being. Put it on the back burner. Your worries, your fears around work. For you, all will be sorted out. Don't push. I feel like you want to mitigate problems before they happen at work. Like you're worried about problems that could be. Look only what's in the present, because there are things happening in the background that you don't see, but they'll sort themselves out and it'll be unaffecting to you. The only thing I would say for you, Louise, is that there is, the only reason you don't move from this position is because you don't want to. Like, even if you go, oh, I really want to get out of here, I'm bored, this, that, and the other, it's filled with stress, as you said, it feels like you're kind of keeping yourself there. And that could just be a mental thing where it's a shift of perspective you need in your work, which leads me to another thing. Every intuitive, every energetic will have doubts about their work at some point, just like any other job. There are mornings when you're going to get up and go, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Like, I totally don't even feel like getting out of bed. Do a really good smudge, because a lot of times you're actually being affected by other people's emotions and clients that you've had or people you've been around, and that can start you back at baseline. However, sometimes it's a phase you're going through. Sometimes your abilities are actually opening up and they want you, they being your guides, guardians, angels, etc., those of the light, want you to just chillax. They want you to rest. So they'll pull away your motivation so that you don't do anything to give yourself time to move forward. Give yourself time to expand internally. Because remember, everything that happens internally has to reflect externally, but there can be a delay. Okay, so even though things take a few weeks to change inside, you're not going to actually see that reflection for a bit. So in Feng Shui, when you start changing things in one of the Bagua corners, and we've talked about that on one of our shows, which you can see on YouTube, by the way, when you activate a corner, that's what they call it, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks for the energy to really pick up and be active and flow very, very strongly. Okay. Wendy, I am waiting for confirmation on a request at work to retire. Yeah, it'll happen soon enough. You're not going to have to wait very long. It really feels like you don't. If anybody wants to join me on this show today, please remember, all you have to do, make sure your computer gets turned on and turned off. That way all your background apps are closed down, except for this one. This app is open. That your sound and your camera has been given permission, and that your Facebook page is actually closed, because once you're in the studio with me, it's all about being in the studio. So please come and join me. I would love to have you here. That'd be fantabulous. Everybody knows that I love to have people sit with me. Jen says, hi, Angel. I'm on mat leave and wondering about going back to work. We're hoping that I go back to work in March and not January. Do you see me going back to the same place in March, not January? I'm kind of seeing January, February, but by March, you'll definitely be, there's something new happening in March. I don't know if that's a shift of position or you're actually going somewhere. I don't know what's happening there, but it feels like real movement, real shift, real change in March. So I think that January, some decision-making will be confirmed for you. So that means, you know, do I want to go back to work? Should I go back to work? They're calling me in for work. There it is. So you have to decide what you want to do. So the decision will have to be made in January. If you do, you'll be going back. March is going to be very conflicted. This is Whitey. She keeps me real. That's the other thing too. If you are doubting and you have an animal, look to the animal, because the animal will be your guide. They calm you. They put you back to center. they help you on an energetic level. Whitey does. She always takes away my stress. Wherever I'm hurting, wherever anybody's hurting, she'll go and sit on that position. And a lot of animals actually do that. But that's very much her job. She's my, what I call my reading cat. She's awesome. Let's see, what else is here? I want to retire. Do you see the area? Thank you. I see water, but I have to tell you, I'm not sure when, where, or how. That one I don't see, but I do see water. I see a lot of trees, so it feels more forested, like up north or something like that, more north. But I can't guarantee that. I just can't see that. But I just see a lot more nature and environment than I do now. Closing the door to one thing, opening a chapter in another. Anna says, do you see around legal work related matter, will it be a positive outcome? I think that one is going to be really difficult. I don't think you're going to get 100% of what you want. In fact, I think you're going to get a very small percentage of what you want. You're going to get something, but I don't feel it's something that's going to make you 100% happy. And that's the other thing too. Okay, so that's a perfect example of me doubting whether or not I should even say anything, because I hate giving people news that they don't want to hear. But again, it comes back to truth. Do you want to know the truth? If you're going to ask a reader the truth, you better be ready for the answer. And I'll ask people that, do you really want the truth? Can I speak the truth? Because if they say yes, I'm going to give it to them. Now, how I give it to them is up to me. As a professional, I want to be kind and compassionate and discerning. I know readers who are trying to go, you're going to die. Oh yeah, by the way, your cat only has 3 eggs. Dude, show a little bit of sensitivity. For me, it's about bedside manner. I find that that's extremely important when doing a reading. I find that people come in and they're already nervous. They already have their own doubts, right? Should I be here? Was this the right move? Am I spending my money well? Which is fair enough, right? So for me, I feel like compassion and doing my work well is of the utmost importance. And the only way I can do my work well is to be sitting in a place that's really good. Now, I've done readings where I've been in a really, really bad place, like the darkest moments of my life, I've had to work. And I've had people say, you know what, I understand where you're at. You can go home, or you can put that aside and you can do your readings. Not as hard as you think, but it can be difficult. It's about mindset. Attitude is another pitfall for psychics. Because we think we know everything, sometimes we go into situations wanting to know everything. So even if we're in a bad mood, we're like, okay, whatever. And then it becomes our opinion based on the situations we're in rather than actually tapping into our truth. So for me, if you are an energetic or someone who wants to even live intuitively day to day, if you're having a bad day, turn around and say, you know what, I'm asking your permission to all those of the light, my guides, my posse, my guardians, my team, to help me put myself aside for a little while to make the decisions that I need to make and have a great day, to help others and to send others who can help me in return, right? Because it has to be reciprocal. And you'll find that maybe it's not that client who has to help or who is there to help you, but someone else. So I'll give you a really good example of that. Years ago, I found a little kitten, and that little kitten was dying. She was under our deck. She had the mange really, really bad. It was going to cost me a lot of money, which I didn't have. Well, that Friday, I was really depressed about it. I was really, really sad about it. And I thought, you know what, if I'm supposed to help this little kitten, anybody out there who can help me, please, please help me. Please send somebody who can help me, or situation. I swear to God, I did this. I went to the window and I said this. And I went to the studio that night, that afternoon, and it was a Friday. And all of a sudden, at the end of the day, they're like, do you have time for one more reading? I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll do one more reading. And this woman comes in, and for the life of me, I could not peg her work. I couldn't do it. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Obviously, we're not supposed to talk about that. And we talked about everything else. And just before she left, we just started to talk about stuff. So I'm telling her about my kitten. She goes, do you know what I do for a living? And I'm like, no. And she goes, I'm a vet. I said, oh, okay. And she goes, and every month I choose a charity or a charitable case to work with, and I would like to make your cat a charitable case. Okay, so that cat that you see in the corner, in that picture of my logo, her name is Mumbai. She is now 11 years old, and she was that little cat. And it was awesome. She helped her, she saved her life, and she actually, in turn, that little cat saved my son's life. Because in our darkest time, if it wasn't for Mumbai, I don't know what would have happened. So this is what we talk about when we talk about reciprocation. The reality is when we listen to that guidance, even if we have doubt, we don't dismiss what we need, to ask, to reach out, not just to those around us, but to those on the other side. We'll be rewarded 10 times fold. Not only did I get that vet who came to me, but I got a cat who is also became an integral part and is an integral part of our family. Right? So 10 times fold, 10 times fold. Joanne Cartwright Boland says, hi, Angel. Any information around my dog? We've had a few vet visits lately for tests. Currently waiting on results. Yeah, I see a little bit of lethargy with this dog. I see kind of lining down, not kind of feeling as well as it could. I do feel like there's going to be something you have to do. I don't know if it's antibiotics, a possible shift in the way it eats for a while anyway. I don't know what's going on. I feel like there's so many things. And I feel like something's going in this area. So I don't know if it's chest or stomach. I don't want to say operation. A lot going on with that puppy. A lot going on with that puppy. But you're not going to lose him. Okay, you're not going to lose your dog. This is just a phase, a moment in time, temporary, they're saying, and you're going to move through it. So whatever is going on with this animal, it will be fine. Okay, it's going to be okay. So Darlene says, hello, my dad passed 6 years ago, this past June. I have felt so guilty all these years because we didn't speak the last 2 weeks before he died. And I missed Father's Day that year. Can you help me with this? My dad was a great guy and I miss him so much. Okay. Here's a great exercise for you that actually ties right into what we're talking about. Get a small white candle, light the candle. Call your dad in, right? I call my dad in, say the spirit of my dad in 3 times, close your eyes. When you see him, feel him, or know that he's there, know that he's there, okay? Talk to him. Don't expect anything. He may say nothing. He may say things that are completely unexpected. This will not be in your head. Okay? The flame is a gateway to spirit. When you do this, sit quietly, do nothing. Just call your dad in and go, okay, you know what? I need to talk to you. And then talk to him. Say what you need to say. Your higher self and your spirit will connect to his spirit and you guys will converse. Okay. So I did a ceremony this past weekend, this past weekend, the weekend before. And in that particular ceremony, I asked if someone in my life and I were okay. And they're like, of course not. I went, oh, okay. So what do we do? What can we do to heal this? And all of a sudden I saw all of these sticky notes. And on these sticky notes, I was to write things that were encouraging because this person was encouraging words. And every time I put an encouraging word on a wound that this person showed me, the wound would go away. Now, what's really cool is since that ceremony, they've changed. And there have been real earmarks of that too. I could come out of that ceremony and go, okay, that was my imagination, that was my psyche, that was this, that was this, that was the other. But it's always validated. As long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone else, dismiss nothing and act on your intuition and how you feel. So for you, Joanne, Darlene, do this. Work with this. This is closure. This is empowerment. This is healing. And this is a conversation your dad is saying that he needs to have with you too, because there's some things he needs to say to you. And just understand there's no forgiveness necessary, he's saying. This is all in the past. You have to move forward the future, especially with your husband. And I want to go like this with your husband. It's interesting because there's a lot coming for you, and this closure will just help you to feel better and move more smoothly into the next phases of your life. All right. Joanne says, yes, yes, a lot for sure. Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you for that validation. So there, right there is that validation I was talking about. And don't think for a second, Joanne, when I was giving you that reading, that my heart wasn't going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm still human. Okay. There are moments where it's like boom, boom. So Carl was talking to me about a friend of ours who had posted something on Facebook about a cat. And all of a sudden he turned around and goes, oh yeah, what color is the cat? And I went, gray. Just like that. Just like that, because I saw it. It was clear as day. Sometimes it's not as easy, and especially if it's not easy news to give, right? But you guys are wonderful. You guys are so freaking open. I'm like the luckiest person in the world. Oh my God, I can't even tell you. So Angela says, what does Angela say? Angie Frijold, I love that name. I have a heavy life decision to make for my family. I'm very stressed out about it. How do I connect with my guides to help? They're laughing. It's part of your life course. This is your nation. You are the leader of this nation. And what's really, really interesting is that you're the only one who can have a voice on this, because your strength is unlike the others. Your heart is fortified, strong. It's almost like one side of your heart is human and one side of your heart is like steel, and it's beautiful, and it's like all goth, and it's got like these little nails in it. And it's like, not nails, like little, what do they call them? Bolts and everything. Like, it's really beautiful. It's very gothic, very steampunk actually. But that's a testament to you. How do you talk to your guides to help you through things? Beautiful question. Thank you very, very much. How do you talk to your guides without doubting that they're there? How do you do that? Especially in times of need. Angie, all you have to do is this. I ask and give permission to all those of the light who can help me in this situation, help me make the decision that comes from my truth. I want you guys to help me. I want you guys to show up. And you can use whatever words you want. The reality is I ask and give permission to those of the light brings in whoever wants to work with you. It could be the doctors that need to give you information, or it could be the doctors who have passed, like, ones who are in spirit. It could be ancestors. It could be anyone or anything that is connected or on the vibration of your question or query. And every time you ask that, a different set of entities will come to you, because you will be on a different vibration, because we're constantly moving vibration like music. Okay, so I ask and give permission to all those of the light to X, Y, and Z. In your case, help me make this life-changing decision. And it is. And I'm sorry you have to go through that, but the reality is it's going to make you stronger and fortify you in the end. It really is. You can do this. You can do this. Lori, what do I need right now? Okay, that's a really great question too. A large question. So a lot of times it's really helpful for a reader to have something specific. When you say, what do I need right now? Well, we need a lot of things at every moment in our life. I need a tequila, but I also want a coffee. I want to play with my cat. Oh, I love you. But I also want to kind of chill with my friends on Facebook Live. So right in this moment, what you need is just to kind of chillax, Lori. I feel like you're kind of not stressed, just overactive. So I need you to like relax, even watching the show. Take a breath. For now, like in this moment, take a breath. Take a breath. No more coffee time necessary. Do have fun doing things of the light that are your own for you. It's not about alone time, just things that are fun. You know what? Pick the movie tonight and be around the people you want to be around, not the people you feel like you have to be around. Stop doing what you have to for the next 2 to 4 days. Stop doing what you have to do. Do fully what you want to do. Oh my God, that's so hard for Lori. I can't even tell you, because she's such a giver. Such a giver. I love you. Vanessa, what if you don't become aware of your guides that show up? It's not about seeing. It's not about, sometimes I don't even know who shows up. I don't even care anymore, as long as they're of the light. A lot of times I have a specific guide who's consistently with me, but sometimes the information doesn't come from him, right? So what I'll do is I'll ask my question, whoever wants to be there, that can be there. And I just say, thank you. I say, thank you. I have ancestors I don't know. Like I have ancestors I haven't connected with, or uncles or aunts who have passed that I don't, even ones who are alive will come to me. And I'm like, Auntie Marianne, what the hell? But the reality is that if they're there to help you, why dismiss them? If you're getting the information in whatever way you're getting it, just acknowledge it, honor it, and ask yourself, okay, is this my truth? Does this resonate with me? If it does, don't dismiss it, act on it. Not hurting yourself or anybody else, do it. Just do it. And understand too, sometimes The guidance will come from others. So if I ask a question, my son may come to me that night and say something that correlates to the question, and he doesn't even realize he's done that. Or I hear a piece of music, and I find the guidance from there. And it's just so obvious, it's painful. Even when it's not obvious, I sit there and I go, okay, was that a message? And I'll ask, and then I'll sit with them and go, okay, yeah, it was. Or, all right, now potato's just a potato. Because we have to understand that too. Sometimes tater's just a tater, right? So ask. You can ask. If you're doubting yourself or you're doubting the situation, that's another pitfall. Pitfall of trying to live an energetic lifestyle is we think we have all the answers. We don't ask enough. So ask that question. Show me, show me a white rabbit wearing a dragon's costume. You really want to make it difficult. Or you can ask, so the other week I was asking, is everything okay with a certain person I know? Show me a hawk in the most unexpected way. So my son comes to me and he goes, I want to watch some anime. I don't feel like it. No, come on, it's time. I've got to watch some anime. It's this new chapter. Okay, fine. So we sit down. Guess what the episode is all about? We're in Egypt, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, really great show, a really great anime, was all about Horus, the hawk-eyed god of Egypt, which was really neat, I thought. So signs will come in the most unexpected ways, right? So if you want your guide to show up, tell them to present themselves. Tell them to give you a sign of some sort. So that's a really important one to know, because again, we have doubt. So how do you mitigate doubt? You ask questions. You ask for guidance. You ask for the signs to be shown and to reveal themselves. Okay, that's really important. Judy says, I am so hoping to be a grandma, but when does this wishful thinking overwhelm intuition, Angel? Oh my God, what a phenomenally fantastic, fantabulous question. Right, so here's the thing. Sometimes we want something so bad that we start wanting it rather than sitting intuitively with it. So this is where we do go to our guides and guardians. This is where we go, okay, you know what, take me out of the picture. I ask and give permission to all those that would like to show me the truth of the matter. So my son has a very exciting thing coming up this weekend, and my mommy self is terrified. But my intuitive self says, yeah, you know what, this is right. So I'm in conflict, or at least I was in conflict. Really cool journey. So I kept asking my guides, I kept asking, show me, is this going to be the good move? If it is, show me a sign. I got nothing. What I'm working on right now is having faith in my own abilities. I love my work. I love it. But the reality is for a long time, I didn't really believe in it. I was one of those people going, okay, but is it really happening? And I'd logic things away. Another pitfall. We logic things away, right? Well, this happened because, and this is happening because, instead of just going, thank you. So last night, girl came to me and I'm like, you know what, I'm really worried about this. I don't know if it's going to work out. I don't know if I should, let this happen. And he goes, okay, stop. And we have this beautiful painting of this couple walking down this laneway with their dogs. They're actually walking their dogs. And he goes, what is the answer? And he just turned me around gently, made me look at the picture, and it just calmed my soul. The colors, the painting, and I got, it's okay. And I got love, and I got excitement. And it was so beautiful. And the answer was there, right? I didn't have to have faith in my abilities. I had to have faith that the answer would come somehow. I had to have faith in the fact that this is his process and he has to make the decision, my son, to do this or not. And it's exciting. So when we doubt, or when we have these overwhelming feelings of, oh my God, I really want something, or oh my God, should I do this, or should that person do this, our sense of protection kicks in. That's when we need to take ourselves out of the equation and go to others. Okay, guides, guardians, friends, family. It's like I say to everybody, before you come to me, go to your friends, go to your family, sit with them, ask for guidance, in whatever way it can come to you, and be open to the fact that you could hear it from a piece of music, from a person, from a guide. It doesn't always have to be esoteric. It doesn't always have to be out there, right? The practical and the esoteric work together. So if you ask an energetic question, you might get it in a practical way. Or if you need something practically, your guides might give it to you. Right, it works. Thank you, Judy. That was a beauty question. Beauty. See, this is what I love about my show. I come into it a lot of times very nervous and doubting whether or not I have enough information to give you to help you move forward. If you guys are enjoying the show, can you give me some hearts and some likes and some loves? Because I want to see the loving. My reality is this. My show is here to be a sharing circle for all of us to guide each other. So when you guys ask your questions and when you guys have this conversation with me, whether you're sitting with me on the show or whether you're commenting, we're teaching each other. So it's lovely that I get to be the host, I get to host this, but understand, you guys are integral to teaching each other, and we're all a collective, right? So I am grateful to everybody here, and it helps me to kind of, exercise that wonderful, wonderful muscle that is psychic. Kim says, I know that I need to be quiet and listen more consistently, but does spirit ever not show up, help, or guide us? Okay, no, they always are there for you. But sometimes they're not going to give you the answer you're looking for. Okay, so going back to that situation, my son this coming weekend, it's that whole idea that the best answer they could give me was none, because I had to go on my own journey. So don't expect them always to turn around and go, well, here's the answer on a silver platter. No, because sometimes the answer is in the journey you're taking. But are they going to give you a clue? For sure. Are they going to answer you? 9 times out of 10, but that 10th time, pay attention, because it just means there's something you have to move through with it. Okay. There are times when it's just like, okay, I'm not getting an answer. What do I need to work through? What's my learning here? And always ask that question. What is my learning? Just because you're giving information to someone else or you get information for someone else, make sure you understand that there is a learning for you. Maybe it's to gain confidence. Maybe it's to bring that percentage of doubt down. Maybe it's for you to learn that, hey, you know what? I don't know everything because I'm being given new information that even I didn't know. Maybe it's to show you how powerful you are. Maybe it's to humble you. Right? Good. Wendy. Love you too. Yes, I love you guys. You're so awesome. I love you all. Tess loves me. Judy loves me. I love you guys. Oh, I can't even tell you how excited this show always makes me, especially before I get nervous, but afterwards I'm like floating, always floating. Vanessa, I have a question about what my spirit animal is. Yours is actually the Beaver Foundation. So wherever you go, family is. It's about celebration and gathering others. And you need to understand that because that's really important. But family isn't just about your family, your intimate family, your blood family. Family is also about those that you work with. Family is about your animal family. Family is about friends and gathering them. You are the tribal woman, the tribeswoman kind of deal. Okay? Tribeswoman, I don't know if that's a word. Let me see. What else do we have here? Okay, so when we talk about doubting ourselves, we also have to talk about the flip side, which is when we feel empowered. Allow it. When something cool happens, let it happen and feel good about it. Go have some ice cream to celebrate that you saw a ghost or you got a piece of information that was accurate. Say thank you to your own spirit for allowing it to embrace the situation that's there. It was an interesting thing, and we're going to be talking about this in the next few weeks. If you join us on my show, next week we're talking about cultural ceremonies and tribal ceremonies. And then on September 15th, really exciting day, we have an Iboga guide and expert coming on our show. His name is Luis Maconza da Silva, and he's going to be talking to us about Iboga and the traditional uses of it and the African ceremony that I went through. And it was like survival camp, like it really was. And it was so cool. I got my my courage badge and my survival badge, and I made friends, and exciting, magical, wonderful things happened. And it's neat. I'm actually going to be putting out an article this week about it. It's going to be coming out in my new magazine that I write for, Addicted, which is going to be cool. But with that, again, it's the whole idea of being open and allowing. When I went in there, I thought, you know what? I'm going to float through it. I did the first time 4 years ago when I did it. So of course I'm going to float through it, right? That's ego mind. And I knew somewhere in me that I was not going to float through it, not in the traditional sense of the word. And what happened is I ended up purging. And at first it was difficult. And I'm like, oh my God, why is this happening? And then I started to allow it. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a second. Every time I purge, I'm hearing something. Every time I see something, every time it's working with me. So then I started to welcome it. And I started to allow it. And I started to see and I started to hear. And guess what? They taught me how to heal. And everybody and their brother knows I have bursitis, which is an inflammation of the hips. Ever since the ceremony, not a whit of pain. And they kept saying to me, you don't have to throw up. You can stop. You can stop hurting whenever you want. And they said, do this, this, and this, and this. And I tried. I did. I really tried. I was just like Harry Potter with a new wand. And I just couldn't do it. And they laughed at me. And they're just like, it's okay. It's okay. It'll come in time. And I've noticed even the last 2 weeks, if you notice, I didn't do the show last week. I couldn't read. I was just out cold. I've been shifting, changing everything. My responses to things, my life has changed. It's incredible. But you don't have to go to ceremony to get to those points. I mean, it's lovely and it's wonderful and it's fun and it's exciting. But just asking, I ask and give permission to all those of the light to take me to the next level of my intuitive development, to help me live a more energetic feel lifestyle. Just that. Every morning before you open your eyes, when the subconscious is wide open, program your day. Today is easy and effortless, and I'm living my most energetic feel lifestyle. That's a really cool affirmation. I have to go back and actually write that one down for myself. See, I'm not that smart. That's the other thing. Things come out of your mouth, and you're just like, where did that come from? Don't doubt it. Don't dismiss it. Say thank you. So Raquel says, I have a friend that has been struggling with having a baby for years. My intuition says she's going to have that baby. I agree with you 100% as soon as I started reading this. I have no doubts about it. It's been 5 years now, and I still feel like she's going to have the child, but now I'm starting to question why it hasn't happened. Do you see her possibly having the child in the next year? I do believe she will, but she tends to kibosh it. So this is a really interesting thing. Fates can change. Paths can change, especially with their future. So my reality is, thank you for the loves and the likes, guys. My reality is this. If I give somebody a reading and they take that reading and they change it, that's not because you're wrong. This person, for whatever reason, she's afraid. There's a fear in her of what if it doesn't happen? What if it doesn't happen? You can keep it from her. It'll slow it down. Either the next fall or the following year, spring after March. So either 2021 fall around this time, September, October. No later than November if it's next year, but if not, it'll be the following year, anytime after March, but it will happen. So for you, Raquel, don't doubt it. She's just slowing it down. She's making this go at a snail's pace, and you can do that. You know, I've told people before, you know, I've seen people who've had heart attack, but I won't say that. What I'll say is, listen, you know what? You need to eat for your heart. You need to really focus on heart health to mitigate problems in the future. There are always ways of saying things. And if they do, fantastic. And if they don't, you know, the outcomes can be devastating or traumatic. And I've had that happen too. You know, and that's part of acceptance. And acceptance is another pitfall of being psychic and living an energetic lifestyle, because we have to accept that sometimes, no matter what kind of guidance we have, no matter what kind of message we want to give, sometimes people are just not ready to take it. That's all there is to it. You know, we watched a great movie last night called Message from the King, and you know, God rest the king, because you know we all know that that Boseman died this week. I can't remember his name, but you know, Black Panther, amazing human being. But we were watching one of his films last night, Message from the King. Watch it, people. It's incredible. But at the end of the movie, he tries to save this boy. And unfortunately, you know, we can't save everyone. We just can't. And that recognition that he has in his heart in this moment is really important for people to understand, because as healers, which is what intuitive abilities are for, is to heal a situation, to help, to guide, to empower, to help release. When we understand that we can't do that for everyone, or not everyone's willing to take that journey, it's healthier for us. You know, we're not here to save the world. We're here to save the world one person at a time and do our bit. Okay, awesome. So Sharon says, don't ever be nervous. You're so loved and appreciated. Oh, may I ask about my spirit animal? I always forget to ask. Yours is, funny enough, Karen Sharon, yours is the boar, which is all woman. That is the Norse mythology. Freya was all woman. You know, that's the whole, even Diana, Princess Diana, Wonder Woman, has the boar as one of her symbols. All woman, the daughter, the mother, the friend, the nursemaid, the this, the that, the other, the grandmother, the wise woman, all of it. So that is your symbol, which is, I find really intriguing, knowing you the way I do. But nerves, again, that's okay. So again, that's acceptance. We're human. I'm going to be nervous, right? I was telling Carl last night, when I was a little girl, I used to take ballet against my will. And would come recital day, I would be fine until I looked up in the audience and I felt I was being judged. Even as a little girl, I had a very big fear of that. And I would run out in the audience and jump in my mother's lap and I would cry. And I would do this every single year. And my mother would just roll her eyes like, ah, really? So now doing what I do, I look back and I go, stage fright. It's jitters. It's stuff I did to myself. You know, I still do that to some extreme, but we all do. The only difference between me doing it and somebody else doing it is I've mitigated it in my mind and my spirit, and I just trust the process a little more. But I'm going to have those moments. You know, that 89% or 94% fear that I had when I was 7, I have now accepted as an illusion. It's an illusion. Fear is an illusion. And that's okay to have fear because it's an alert. You know, there's something going on here. Let's take a look at it, right? It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to have fear. It's about how do you move through that fear to get to the next step. Bad movie, terrible movie. Green Lantern is all about that. You know, a lot of, eye work happening for Ryan Reynolds, really unfortunate, amazing actor, love him to death, really one of my heartthrobs. But the reality was all eye acting in that movie. Thank you, the director. The reality for me, though, is in that particular movie, that's what it's about. It's about fear, and how do we move that? One of my heroes right now is Alex Honnold, and he did Free Solo, Netflix, watch it, really great movie, great documentary. He climbed 3,100 feet, and it was on El Cap in Yosemite, and he did it completely harness-free, so no gear. It was completely freehand. He climbed up this mountain face, 3,100 feet, which is really a deadly concept for most people. But his big thing is about fear. And you can actually see him on Instagram. You can find him. He's really, really cool. And you can also find me on Instagram, Raising Energy, at Raising Energy. If you love animals, at Angel Morgan Pet Psychic on Instagram. And if you want to follow my blog, it's mypsychiclifestyle.com, or on Instagram, at mypsychiclifestyle. And you can actually read about all the stuff that I talk about in those particular articles that I write about. Because what I write about, I try to live, right? What I talk about, I try to be on that path. I don't always succeed. Another pitfall of the psychic and the energetic. We think we are, we have to be holier than thou. And the reality is we're not. A lot of people put us up on pedestals. We're not. I swear, I yell at my kid. I have arguments with my mate. Right? Every day is a new day and a new beginning, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to stumble and fall just because I'm connected to my intuition and my guides and my guardians. I still have to live an everyday life. I still have to, I trip, I bang into things. I have, I have a bruise on my shoulder because I opened the door and it smacked me in the, right? So my reality is this. We're all human and we're all spirit. It's about balancing those two and enjoying the ride. So the next time you have an intuitive moment, dismiss nothing, say thank you. Is it my truth? Act on it, as long as you're not hurting yourself or anybody else. Join us next week, because next week we're going to be talking about cultural ceremonies from all over the world. We're going to talk about despachos and pagan ceremonies and feng shui ceremony. Like, we're gonna go the whole gambit. We're gonna have so much fun, and I'm even gonna send you away with a couple that you can do right at home. So check me out, raisingenergy.com. My name is Angel Morgan, or at Raising Energy on Instagram. Let your friends know that the show is happening, and we'll see you next week on my show.